live from the studio.
Yeah, dude.
Merrick Glazer.
I'm Jimmy Selesky.
And today on the pod, it's an early pod today. We got Alex Hooper
Hello.
on the cast. Baltimore native.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, why did you move out to LA?
I went out there in the end of 2008. I was in Baltimore, and I graduated in 2003. I went to Pittsburgh in 2004 to go to school, and then I went to college, or I went to LA at the end of 2008.
What part of Baltimore were you from?
I grew up right here, actually. I grew up in Lutherville, Timonium,
Did you go to Towson
Cockeysville.
High?
No, I went to Carver.
Oh.
Art, bitch. Hell. Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to a regular school. I'm going to act.
You went to Old Carver, though. Do you see the new Carver
Oh,
school?
I've seen the new Carver.
Dude, it's insane.
I haven't been inside there because I guess they frown upon a random person just walking into a high school these days.
I felt the same
Go
way.
figure.
I would train on the track, and I was like, is this okay? Because I'd be like doing it right as school was ending. So like all the kids would be walking by the bus and like, who the fuck is this dude on the track?
Yeah, right.
I live right across the street from him. I'm like, you know what? I'll just go somewhere else.
See, it was worse for me because I just tried to join the field hockey practice, and they were like, you can't be here.
Dude, I was the field hockey manager. in
Hey.
high school. But I was of age at the time, so it was good.
Yeah,
Did
no,
you
I felt
do?
anything weird
Did you
about
do comedy here before you went to LA?
No, I started like 5 months after I moved to LA. I moved to LA to be an actor, and then I got kind of bored rather quickly, and a friend of mine pushed me into stand-up, and I was like, oh, this is what I was supposed to do.
What kind of acting were you? Like theater acting or like movie acting?
No, I was already in the I joined Screen Actors Guild in college. I did a couple movies when I was in Pittsburgh. Like, there was a big film boom around the time I was there in like the mid 2000s, and so I started getting cast in a couple like small roles in movies. And then so I was already in the Screen Actors Guild, so I was like, I have to go to Los Angeles if I actually want to do this. And then I started doing okay out there, but I was also like, I was very bored, and then I'd always wanted to do stand-up and never knew how. And a friend of mine was like, I'll show you how to do it. And that was it. Off to the races.
Were those like initial acting roles, like comedic roles too? Was that kind of your
Yeah,
lane
I mean, like
already?
very, very small, like comedic roles. Like I did this MTV show that I shot for like 2 weeks that like never went anywhere. But that was like one of my that was my first like big role. But then it never even aired because it was
What was
just
it called?
awful. You're not gonna know because it never aired. It's called I Remember Chloe, and it was no bueno.
What was it about?
It was about the most likable girl on the planet who is doing really well in life, and she gets a job promotion at work, and she has the best friends, but she's secretly a heroin addict, and oh no, she's dead, and then it's over. It was supposed to be the first like actually made for digital content, like to be watched on cell phones and things like that, because this is like in 2006.
But this was still like at the height of reality TV shows too. But this wasn't a reality.
This was
show?
not reality. This was actually
Surreality.
scripted, like 3 to 4 minute episodes, like 28 of them or something like that. So you're supposed to watch it on your phone right as that boom is like. It was before that boom took off. And what I say about it is it was so bad they couldn't even put it on the internet. It was just, and it's just a vision went wrong. You know, the heart was in it. The acting wasn't bad or anything like that. It's just somewhere along the way. I don't know. I don't really know what happened.
Who
but
did you play in this?
I played her, like one of her best friends, and my character's name was Kelly McLuhan. I did not speak like that though, but I feel I have to when I say that name. But it was great for me because I'd never done a lot of on-screen acting stuff before, like camera work, other than just like film, doing scene work for my friends' movies and stuff like that. So all of a
but
sudden,
once you're
I
on
was
like a
in-
real set, you learn all the lingo and you
learn
pick up on
so
shit
much,
quick.
and it was 2
yeah.
weeks, and I was like a lead, so I like learned so much about like how to actually like work with a camera and things like that. And then it was just like I was a big fish in a small pond, and I was like this kind of like fun, like at the time I was like overweight, like kind of like big hair frat guy kind of dude. Like so in Pittsburgh there wasn't really another one of me. So like when more movies came, I was lucky to get like little parts here and there. And then, so it just made sense for me at the time. I always wanted to live in California. Like I grew up watching Baywatch, and I was like, that's what I want. Yep, I just wanna run into the ocean in slow motion for the rest of my life. And as soon as I got to California, I was like, oh yeah, this is where I want to be.
But you're still kind of doing both at this point. Like you haven't gone completely into stand up.
No, I mean, acting and stand up kind of go hand. You're either gonna be like a stand up and a writer, or stand up and an actor for the most part. There's very, very, very few. I only do stand ups and I make it completely from that. Like that's a very rare breed. Most people have to either go one to the acting side or the writing side.
But you still get something like kind of adjacent to comedy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't, like,
exactly. And I mean, the TV stuff only helps. Like, I mean, obviously, like I love doing the TV stuff. It's super fun, and people recognize you from it. So then they go to your comedy shows because they know you from this thing, and that's kind of just all part of just building the career.
What thing were you in? Like you were on The New Girl, right?
I was on New Girl. That was a couple of years ago.
That's the one with Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That was pretty great. I was on. I was only supposed to do one day, and then the end of the day, they did that magical thing where somebody goes, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I'm like, "What do you want me to be doing tomorrow?" And they're like, "Can you come here?" I'm like, "Of course, obviously, yeah." Just like, like I'm just gonna turn down all that money in another day on set for more stuff.
What did you do on that?
I played this. My character's actual name is Random Guy. Pretty good. I auditioned for Smelly Guy, but they gave Smelly Guy to someone else, and I got Random Guy. But basically, I'm on this episode, a Valentine's Day episode, where all the characters go on a bar crawl, and I find them along the way and join their bar crawl. And so it was pretty fun. I got to say Gooch and Taint on national television.
Oh, yeah.
I was pretty excited about that.
Did you get to talk to Zoe?
I did.
She
was, her and I bonded. We're both pug people. We're both pug people.
Okay.
So she has a pug, and I had at the time I only had one. Yeah, I have two now, but at the time I only had one. But yeah, so we bonded over. I was instantly like, I found that out, and I was like, good, I have something to talk about, so I don't just sit there and go, oh, look at you, you're so pretty. Like, so it was instantly like we spent like an hour probably just going back and forth, showing pictures of our dogs, and just going, oh.
Did you show her your little calendar?
I didn't have the calendar yet. The calendar was not even a conception yet. It was nowhere near it. The calendar only came this year. Like that idea was basically conceived in April of this year. And then
What is this calendar?
I made a pug yoga calendar.
Yeah, I saw something about pug yoga. Like when I was looking around, I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, it's it's just a stupid idea that has gone further than I ever thought it would. Like one day I put my dog on. I was laying on my back in my apartment, and I put my dog on my feet and just lifted him in the air, and I was just balancing her on my feet, and I was like, "Oh, take a picture of this," to my girlfriend. She took a picture. I put it online, and people started freaking out. They were like, "This is hilarious. This is so funny," and so I made a whole nother series. I went to a park and just did all these other yoga poses with her, started posting those, and people were like, you need to like make like a book or like a calendar or just do something with these. And so I told the idea to a photographer friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, why aren't we doing that already? Like, we need to be doing that. And
I'm not surprised it took off, dude. Honestly, pugs have a huge market. People love pugs.
They're the most popular dog on as far as what people consume of like dog wise. Like if you look on people's like T-shirts and stuff like that, you'll always see like weird.
It's like the
pug
most
photos.
recognizable one.
They're
Yeah,
so
for
strange.
sure.
I hate to
Silhouette,
say it, but they
you
are
know.
strange looking.
Of course they are. They're very polarizing. Like most people, like for me, obviously, I'm like they're the cutest things on the planet, and there's other people like that's the ugliest motherfucking alien dog you could ever.
I didn't want to go out and say it, but that's kind of the side I'm on.
That's okay. You can. I don't fault anyone for being there because I understand it. Until I actually like got one. Like I always thought they were kind of cute, but until I got one, like I didn't understand how much I would fall in love with them. But it's. I know so many people that are like, that's not a real dog, Alec. You don't have a dog. Like you have a fur sack of wrinkles, and I'm like, fair enough. But she was on Ellen and you weren't, so.
Your dog was on Ellen?
Well, the calendar was.
Holy shit, dude.
It made it much, that's what I'm saying. It made it way further than I ever thought it would. Like, I made it like
God.
as just like a joke product, just to be like, yeah, let me make a calendar. Why not? And then put a ton of work into it. And yeah, it ended up on Ellen this year. So.
Hell yeah.
Did you get to meet Ellen?
Sales, baby.
No, because I didn't get to go to Ellen. They just got calendars.
They just
and
invited the calendar.
Just the calendar was invited. She sat and interviewed it on the couch. It was pretty quiet for the most part. She mostly asked the questions. But even still, it was pretty exciting to see my, shirtless form like blasted behind her on a screen while she's holding my calendar.
like crowd shots of just women looking at you like, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can hear the response, like all these people, oh, which is, it's nice that I could feel their hearts melting a little.
So
bit.
are you like making a decent amount of income off of that?
I mean, decent. I mean, we made a little bit of money. It's
Okay.
nothing.
You got the
I didn't know if
nothing
you were
we're living
going
off
into the
of.
calendar industry. I was like, is that lucrative?
No,
I don't know.
I made a one-off calendar just for fun.
can only
just
do one a
because
year.
Yeah, and I'm not going to do another one next year. Like, I'm out of the calendar game. It was a lot of work, and it was just a silly idea, and I don't want to have to continue to try to push calendars on people. Like, it was so much more effort than I ever thought it would be because we made a really good calendar. I didn't just like go into Vistaprint and be like, there's a photo, bam, month, like we designed this whole thing, and it's high quality, but I'm done with calendars. I have
I don't even care what
very
today
few
is.
left, and I'm just trying to like hawk the rest of them at my shows, and like for the next like week, and then I'm like, no more calendar stuff. I'm over it. But it's nice that it got the recognition that it did. It made the idea just seem way more legitimate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm proud of it.
Hell yeah.
Do stupid shit, follow through with it, and see what happens.
Yeah, put good work into good ideas.
Yeah.
Get on Ellen.
I think the biggest thing is I think for most of us, and myself included in this, is that we think of ideas and then we go, wouldn't that be great if we did that? You go, yeah, that would be great. And then you just throw it away and you never do anything because you think about like, oh, but I don't want to actually like do the stuff that entails me actually completing a task here. So this one
Convinced myself it wouldn't have worked anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But enough people were asking for this, and then enough people pushed me. They're like, no, we have to do it. Let's do it. That eventually I was like, okay, fine. This is the one I'm going to follow through with then. And I'm really glad I did.
Awesome. Who is the photographer?
His name's Troy Conrad. He's a comedian in LA, but mainly a photographer now. He produces a show called Set List, which it used to be a TV show in the UK, but it's basically this improvised stand-up game that's like gone all over the world to all these festivals. So he created that and toured the world with it for years. Then really started picking up photography, got really good, became like the Comedy Store's main photographer, and shoots for Comedy Central all the time. And I was producing comedy at a music festival called Desert Hearts, just like a hippie burner festival. And I brought him with me, and that's where I told him the idea. And he was like, yep, yeah, we're going to do that. Like, so
Fuck yeah.
it all worked out.
Shout out the boy Troy.
Yeah, Troy Conrad. Woo. At Troy Conrads. Follow him on Instagram.
Is that with a
Pictures
K
are
or a
amazing.
C?
It's with a C. Yeah.
Good to know.
Conrads.
What's like the Crave thing you do? That's another thing.
Crave that's my real baby. It's an event that I produce that starts with a themed comedy show. So we do like a 90-minute comedy show that has some sort of theme and through line behind it. It doesn't have like a normal like host bringing up comics. I always play some sort of character and there's a story involved with it. So between every comic, there's more story that gets released in it until eventually like there's kind of like a big through line through it at the end and it all wraps up. The comics don't have to do anything weird. They just do their regular sets. But then we have this really fun like story playing out throughout the comedy show, and then it turns into an all-night dance party. We used to have like fire spinners and like live artists and all this other crazy, sometimes aerial acrobatics and stuff like that. But we just locked down a new space because it's finally going to be like fully legal for the first time. It was always a little sketchy what we were doing, but now we're fully legal, but it's also fully indoors, like in a club, so we can't do like the fire and stuff anymore, which I'm okay with, like honestly, because having a place is fully permitted and legal takes a lot of stress off of me. As fun as it was to be underground for the last few years, it's going to feel really good to know that I'm just going to go into a place that's already clean and ready to go and has all their lights and DJ decks and everything else set up for me just to walk in there and just do the show. Yeah. So that's really nice. But that is like, it's a whole team of us. Like I'm kind of the ringleader of it, but then I have like my producer Mike Grimm is like does all my tech because I don't know how to even plug in a wire. Like I can't do anything like that. My girlfriend does all the emails, marketing, and keeps up the website and all that. So,
but this is at one single location. It's not like a touring thing.
We've done multiple locations, but like we've had a few locations over the years. We've had like 4 or 5 locations, and we've done a few.
All
festivals.
in LA though.
Yeah, all in LA, and then a couple music festivals out in the desert. that they just brought us in to like curate comedy events for them. But it's just a really rad party. It's just kind of a one-stop shop of all of my favorite things, and that's kind of why I put it together, because I was like, well, I like going out dancing all night and I like comedy, so why don't I put these together? And people were like, that's not really going to work. And I was like, we'll see. And it worked pretty. Everyone we do, we find more and more people that are like, this is the best.
Is that why it's called Crave? Because the C for comedy?
Comedy rave, you got it.
I was thinking that last. I was like, I wonder if that's the reason.
Yeah, and so our fans are called Cravers, and it's just like it all works out. And we really have fun with what we do. Like our stories get really crazy, and our themes we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of weird costume stuff. We theme even like the emails sometimes to go along with the story, so people really don't know what we're getting into. Like one time, the only email people got was that there was a recall on the time machine they bought, and there's like, if you want to get a refund on your time machine, you got to come to this location at this time. And when they showed up, we had this whole time traveling. We actually had a time machine like built and everything, and we had this whole time traveling theme that went along with it. So when you got there, it suddenly made so much sense what we were doing. But we like being a little cryptic and a little secretive, so you don't exactly know what you're getting yourself into. And so we get a lot of people that are more on the curious side of like the more
just be like,
adventurous.
what is going on? I gotta check this out.
Yeah, we used to not tell people where it was until the day before. Like, so we was always like secret location. And
Who's the
things
primary audience of this? Like other people that are into comedy or people that are into raves?
I honestly search for both, but I mainly search for people that are really into like going out dancing. Because the thing is, most comedians like will go out and dance and stuff like that, but most comedians already know who I am and know that I run a show and can go see me do comedy anywhere, whereas comedy audiences. But dance music audiences still really like comedy. If you ask most people, they can tell you who their favorite comedians are. They watch specials. They go to shows sometimes. So I'm looking more for that side of people to be like, well, let me show you a comedy show that I've made just for you guys.
And you're bringing yourself a market because you're, tapping into the rave crowd and getting them more interested in comedy.
Yeah.
Which is like, you're not trying to spread raving to your comedy friends. Like, you don't give a shit.
No, I mean, I've definitely introduced it to a few of them. But I love the festival vibe, and just I like going out and doing drugs and putting on costumes and going crazy and just like being completely uninhibited.
So it's like a legit comedy show, and then when the comedy show ends, it just becomes an all-out.
Yeah, I mean,
or it's not like intermingled.
No, I mean, no. We don't do like comedy while we're doing that, like while we're doing the dance party thing. But we basically we always have a kind of transitional DJ that will like come out of the comedy show. So we play really, we don't just blast you in the face with super hard electronic as soon as it's over. Like we have very like nice, good, like kind of get you in the mood music for the first like 45 minutes to an hour, and then we'll start like amping it up as it gets later and later at night.
Smart way to do it. Yeah.
But it's super fun, and it's just it's where I get to put all my creativity, like so much of my creativity of like, all right, let's go inside my brain for a moment and see what kind of weird shit we can come up with.
Was the first one themed like that, or did you just say like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it?
No, the themes came somewhere around number 4. They started doing more. We started getting better with the themes, and then by the time we were at like 5 and 6, we were like, okay, now we know what we want to do, because it felt weird to just do a straight stand-up comedy show and then have this party afterwards. And we were doing it at this Burning Man warehouse, and the guys that were running it were all burners, and they were like, look, Burning Man people don't want a show and then a party. We want an immersive event. Like, so what if you found a way to really turn this whole thing into one giant event instead of just having like, oh yeah, we're going to do a little comedy show and then we'll just dance for a while. Like, and so that's what really inspired me to start like going the extra mile and getting more creative and actually just trying to put more ideas into it, more innovative ideas. And there have been a couple that have been like, well, that was not our best show. I mean, the shows are always good, but sometimes our themes or my scripts go a little too off the wall. Mm-hmm. But that's all part of the experimentation of it. And even if my like script or my story isn't the best thing ever, the comedians will always save it, because we get the best people to do it. I mean, we've had Hannibal Buress and Kumail Nanjiani and Ali Wong and Nikki Glaser. I mean, we've had Dimitri Martin, like Gerard Carmichael. I mean, we've had A-list people on every single show, and then a ton of up-and-coming comics that I just know are killers, that are my friends, that maybe don't have all the TV credits those guys have, but are still fully capable of destroying a room.
Did you meet those guys through booking them at Crave, or did you just know them through the circuit?
I just know them from doing shows, because I'm very fortunate that I've gotten to be on shows with like all those people throughout the years, and so I just get to know them, and then they realize that even though my show seems a little crazy, that it is a good event. Like, people talk about it, and people know that we're gonna have a packed house. It's gonna be a really good show. It's always kind of scary telling some people, because it used to be like, so we're going to go to this weird part of the city. You're going to enter through a back alley. There will be a security guard, but it's always like telling some of the comics, like the description, they're kind of like, what have you gotten me into right now? Like, what did I sign up for? Is this worth the minuscule amount of money you're paying me to be here? But it always works. As soon as they get in there and they would like see the spaces we were in, because we were in these crazy, awesome, like after hours warehouse party spaces that just had so many like nooks and crannies and weird rooms and fun stuff to do, that as soon as they got in there, they'd be like, oh, okay, I get why we're doing this.
Is LA the place? Because I'm noticing a lot of those same people. Is LA the place where they have roast battle, right? Or is that New York?
Well, it moved to New York eventually. It's in both now.
Where's the
but
belly
it started
room?
in LA. That's the Comedy Store. Yeah.
Because that's the one you were on, right?
The roast battle started in the belly room of the Comedy Store. I guess about 4 years ago now.
With because we had Rel Battle on in the past too.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
Rel was a part of it for a while, and then they had a falling out, and now he still is a producer on the show, but he's not actually involved with the actual show anymore.
Yeah, he told me he wanted it to be called the Rel Battle.
Yep, there was.
And Comedy Central disagreed, and that falling out.
I can't get into too much of this because there's some legal things behind it that I shouldn't. That maybe I'm privy to know, and maybe I shouldn't know. But either way, whatever happened between them, they had a slight falling out, and he's still part of the show for producer wise, but he doesn't actually have anything to do with the TV show, as far as I've come to understand. But either way, I have no hard feelings at all toward Rel. Rel and I are friends. I love that dude.
Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah, he's great. Awesome. Brian Moses is a great friend of mine, so I have nothing but the best thing to say. And whatever happened between them happened between them. And,
I didn't
happen.
know did not know it was actual falling out. I just thought it was just like kind of like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, things happened, but it's just like
apparently Comedy Central has a knack for doing that, because he probably. Do you think it was kind of the same thing that happened with Dave Chappelle?
No, the Dave Chappelle thing was different, because Dave Chappelle straight up walked away from his show, whereas I think with Roast Battle there was just just inter-family fighting and decisions couldn't be reached, and somebody wanted this and other people wanted to be this way, and eventually you just keep disagreeing and you realize that maybe we're not going to work together very well on this.
Yeah.
But the show it still consistently goes up every Tuesday in the belly room at the Comedy Store, and I think they're getting another season on Comedy Central. They just did a season in the UK. So I mean, things are going really well for him and the show, and it's my favorite. I love that show.
How often
so
do you
goddamn
do it?
much. I don't battle that much anymore. I haven't battled since July. I judge.
You've done the TV show a couple times.
Yeah,
too, right?
I was on like 4 episodes of the TV show, which was great. So much fun. I mean, I just had such a blast doing it. Just because they let me do it my own way, which was really fun. Like, I did it in all these weird characters and stuff that most people hadn't really seen the show done like that before, and so I kind of just took it and made it my own spin, because I was like, well, I have all these fun costumes. Why don't I just wear this on TV?
You kind of like brought more of the live show to the actual tape show.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is just like, for me, it was what's going to make me stand out, and when am I going to have an opportunity to wear whatever I want and say whatever I want on TV.
Yeah.
One of the craziest things is Comedy Central didn't ask to see our jokes beforehand.
Really?
And if you do a late night set, you have to script verbatim every single thing that you're going to say in that set. And they didn't ask for what we were going to do, which was insane to me. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, you don't need to look at these? Like,
Yeah.
do you have any idea what I'm about to say? And they're like, we don't care.
I was under the impression that a lot of that was off the cuff, but I guess not.
No, not really.
No,
Because a lot of times they'll like fry each other for not having jokes written or something like that. But I guess
we usually have those ready. Yeah, we have
Like little
retorts.
rebuttals.
Yeah,
or like,
yeah. The rebuttals are a big part of it. It's like as soon as somebody flubs a joke, or they're gonna I know they're gonna make fun of me for, let's say, being weird looking or having pugs. Like I'll have jokes at the ready to spin right back onto them, and so that's just part of just being prepared and like.
Well, how
knowing
long is the
game.
battle itself, or is it just
A couple of minutes. Like,
so? How many jokes do you have to have like in
on
your
the TV
sleeve?
show, we do 4, but in the actual if you're doing a main event in the belly room, you need usually about 10 because you do 3 rounds if you're doing like a main event, which is what I mainly did. But on the TV show, you just do 4 jokes, so it's quick. It's just a back and forth for about 2 minutes.
Oh, so they just kind of cut it together, or you're saying they actually film just 4 jokes? Because I feel like that.
No, they film 4 jokes. Yeah,
guess-
four jokes for each person, and then that's what you get, and that's enough for to really. Usually, that's enough to really feel like, okay, this guy was had the slight edge over this one. Sometimes it's a total blowout. Sometimes it's extremely close, and the actual Comedy Central battles, like I won 3 of them, and then I had a very close decision when I lost the 4th one. Like it was very split. But in the end, they gave it to the other guy, which is fine. I did what I wanted to do. I did it the way I wanted to do it. I
Got to
wore a
dress fly.
sequined unitard and a glow-in-the-dark tail. And, I just got to be my weirdo self and the way I wanted to do it.
Have you
Are
ever been
you,
a judge on it?
Yes, but not on the TV show. I'm not. They only use celebrities for that. I've been the judge in the belly room like 4 or 5 times, and I love doing the judging aspect because I get to put a little bit of my knowledge that I know from just doing the show so many times into it. Plus, I get to just do like a really like sick burn really quick, and then just be like, but here's why you were actually really good, instead of
Had to write
just
less
being
jokes.
mean. Because I don't. Yeah, it's fun to do it on the fly. It's really fun to just look at 2 people and go, okay, how can I relate these 2 people together instead of sitting there having to craft these puzzles.
I feel like I'd
jokes.
much rather be a judge myself.
Yeah, I mean the
feel like-
battling is intense. It's really intense. You have to really.
You have
feel
to
like I'd be
dig
stressed.
deep though. For judging, you can just do like a quick observation. And it's
Yeah,
funny,
exactly. Whereas, you got to learn some stuff. I never wanted to be cruel in my jokes. My thing was always clever will beat mean. So always go for the silly joke over just the mean joke because the audience, you think they want to hear about some girl's abortion, but a lot of times they don't, and they're like, "Whoa, like
Yeah.
why would you even?"
The
bring
comics
that
are gonna
up?
laugh, but the audience is gonna be like so
Yeah.
turned off.
Yeah, and so I would always just I would always try to be really silly with everything I did because I mean that's what I want. I don't want to be mean anyway. It's a weird thing that I got so involved with that show because I never wanted to do it. When I saw it, I was like, this is fun, but I was like, I don't want to say these things about anybody. And then a friend asked me to do it, and I did, and I just fell in love with it so quickly. And thus, just the idea of writing those jokes, like it's really good exercise just to be able to learn how to they are puzzles. You have this piece of information and this piece of information. You go like, how can I link these together in a way that no one ever has? So I really came to enjoy the process of just doing it. And then the battling was so intense. I mean, you're up there and somebody there's 100 people just laughing their ass off at you because they're like, oh yeah, you do look like this. And then I'm just like, yeah, I get it. I know I look like I'm constantly waving off rescue helicopters. I get it. But then inside while everybody's laughing at you, but wait till you see what I'm about to fucking eviscerate this person with.
You are right about the clever beats mean thing because somebody cuts deep into you and then you get him back with like a clever retort. It's like you almost have the crowd double on your side.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're like, oh, he didn't even have to be that mean. That's just super funny.
Because I think the people understand that it's easier to be mean than clever. I think you can.
Yes.
I think you can cut deep into somebody, and just like the fact that you mentioned or said something will make people it almost has the illusion of being funny. Just because it's like, oh my God, that's so true, or something like that.
Yeah,
but
my favorite jokes were always just very very short and very just come completely out of nowhere, so you'll never see it coming, but then you immediately understand it as soon as I say it. Those were always my favorite ones.
I just think it's funny. I don't know. I've only done local whatever at bar roasts or whatever, but it's just fun to pass off digging yourself out of a hole for the audience back to back. It's just so I don't know. It's a different rush than just doing regular stand up for sure.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's just there's something I tell people all the time, like if you've never felt a joke reaction like when you drop a serious just one-liner roast joke in the belly room with that place. I mean, people start smacking the walls and banging the floors like, oh shit, oh shit. Like, people laugh at my regular stand-up and they laugh and they clap and whatever, but nobody is screaming out, holy fuck, and banging on the walls. Like, it's
The
a
wave
whole,
isn't coming up and doing a
yeah, the wave's the best.
reenactment of it.
People that don't understand the wave have never seen it live. As soon as you see it live, you're like, oh, I get this 100%. Those guys are
wave.
amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that the New York roast misses.
Yeah,
don't think
I
they
did
have
the
that.
roast.
They
They sent me to New York to do a roast, like a championship thing, and it was super fun. But yeah, there's nothing like that in
I'm unfamiliar. I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't know exactly.
The Wave are these three guys. They call them a guerrilla sketch crew, and they every once in a while, whether a joke does really well or if a joke bombs, they'll come out and do like a 4-second like hilarious act out, and then just run back off screen.
Oh, yeah,
And
I have seen that. I have seen
They
that.
go
Yeah, yeah.
really big sometimes, and they go. I mean, one of them, Jeremiah, has like shaved his pubes like on screen, on stage and stuff like that, like into a dustpan, and they like flicked it up in the air and like they've done. I mean, they've used fire. They use all kinds of crazy costumes. They sucked on a porn star's tits one time.
Nice.
Like, I mean, they've done all kinds of just bizarre things. They just go to the dollar store and fill themselves up with props and just get ready to
gosh.
go. It's very funny. Super fast paced. That's the other thing about the show. The show's so ADD that it's like perfect for audiences today because every second someone else is making another joke or doing something else hilarious, and
Yeah,
just
well,
so
they
rapid
also have like
fire.
the DJ too. The
Yeah,
DJ
Coach
just
T
like
is a marvel at what he does. And for those that don't know, like the DJ does like sound effects and does all this intro music and stuff. But the second you'll like, I'll just tell a joke that mentions Jurassic Park, and within 3 seconds, the Jurassic Park theme is playing. Like, where it's how do your fingers move that quickly? Like, how did your brain
loaded up
tell you?
already?
It's like he knows sometimes what's coming, but he doesn't. So it's
I was going to
just
say, if you guys write the jokes, they might know.
no. We don't tell anybody our jokes.
Oh, true.
Yeah, they don't know. So he's just that good at listening, and has conditioned himself to hear, oh, okay, Three's Company, boop, and just go. Or like, they made a joke about somebody dying in a video game. Okay, one up sound effect, bam. Like, and he just has he has a bunch of cues at the ready, but then he's also just got the fastest fingers of anyone I've ever met, and just can search anything on a dime.
What's this dude's name?
Coach T, Coach T, yeah, TEA. That's what they call him.
Damn, dude, I was about to reach for your Subway Coke because I was like, I could
you
really
can give me that though. I'm a
Hell
little
yeah,
thirsty.
finish my fucking coffee, and now I'm just like, ooh,
The
you
no
know,
lid
Cruise on a
coffee.
beer, dude.
that's true.
Yep, those are down there.
Those are down there.
I'm only doing this because I need something to drink.
That's you don't have to explain why you're drinking at 1:30 p.m. on a Thursday.
Hell yeah.
That's a very normal time to drink.
So how did you get into like rave culture and electronic music and stuff?
I started going. I met this group of people like at the easy story is October 15th, 2010. I went to an LCD Sound System concert at the Hollywood Bowl. Who LCD Sound System is one of my favorite bands, and the people my friends and I were all on mushrooms, and the people next to us were all on ecstasy, and they were all wearing. Do you guys know what spirit hoods are? You know, they're like these animal like hats that have these paws in them that you can put your hands in, and they're like made of fur and like
Oh,
they're,
yeah,
like,
yeah, I know what
grenades. So
those
those
are,
are called spirit hoods. At the time, 2010, none of us had ever seen them before, and we're like, whoa, who is this group of people that are wearing all these crazy animal hoods and blah blah? And we just started talking and realized that, oh wow, we like a lot of the same stuff. My best friend started dating one of them, so our group kind of started to merge. And like 6 months later, they were like, you guys got to come to Coachella with us. Like, we rent a house every year and we do that. So we went to our first like major festival, and then they started just taking us to these after hour spots and being like, oh well, let me show you, there's some other things here that we can be doing. And so like some friends started showing us like, oh, you can just go dancing in these places till 7 a.m. if you want to. And I realized that just the people that go to these events are super fun and loving, and their style is fantastic, and they just have this way of life that's just like, oh yeah, we just want to have fun all the time. And I always kind of liked stuff like that anyway, and going to concerts, and this was just a new way of doing it. So like I don't go to like a ton of like raves like so much. I go to like a lot of like festival events, like a lot of burner style festivals, like they call them transformational festivals. But it's really just like 6,000 people in the woods just putting on costumes and going crazy.
Yeah.
But then there's like yoga and stuff like that, so like that's why
no.
people are like, yeah. But it really, I loved the culture of just finding all these other weirdos that just wanted to just stay up and have fun all night.
But you weren't really exposed to that in Baltimore at all? You didn't really
No,
discover
I never,
that?
dude. I wasn't like, I'm not. I mean, I left here when I was 19. And I hadn't done any of that stuff yet. Like I just went to a lot of concerts and things here, and like I used to go to HF Festival every year. But like other than that, like I didn't really do any of that in Baltimore or even in Pittsburgh. Like if you had told me when I was 19, like just wait, you're gonna love going out dancing all the time, I would have been like, who are you talking to right now?
Yo, you were in Pittsburgh, I think, at the time like Wiz was coming up, right? Is that around then?
Yeah, he started to get really popular when I was there, because I was there from like 2004 to 2008. So yeah, he got really popular when I was there. So some good people come out of Pittsburgh.
So you got a theater degree at Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think I have a degree. I think I got that MTV show I talked about. I actually got expelled from the theater department for doing it, because you weren't supposed to do any outside work if you were in a school production. And I was like, I dropped out of a school play that I had 6 lines in to do this obviously better thing. And then I had teachers fighting for me, but the dean of the department expelled me for a year. So
That's ass. They won't let you do what?
it was fine, because
Like
that's when I started doing
NCAA
movies, because
football
I
or
was like,
something.
all my friends were like, I'm in the school play. I was like, I'm in this movie called Adventureland. Have fun with your school play. So it was actually the best thing that could have happened. It was just me listening to my gut going like, what am I doing? Do I want to have 6 lines in this stupid restoration comedy, or do I want to be in a fucking MTV show where I can actually learn how to do what I want to do?
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of me just being. I'm very stubborn. I mean, I've gotten better at it over the years, but especially back then, I was a very stubborn person. I was like, "Fuck you! You don't want me to do this? I'm gonna fucking do it anyway."
But you didn't leave it for I Love Chloe. You left for...
No, I did leave for I Remember Chloe. Yeah. It was man. It was a couple $1,000. It was 2 weeks with an MTV show. I didn't know it was going to be terrible and never get aired anywhere. You don't know that stuff when you get that kind of job. All I knew is that I was about to film for 2 weeks on a TV show.
Yeah,
It is
BlackBerry exclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just wild that they wouldn't let you do that. It's just weird how colleges do that shit. Like they have to like secure their own... Like what other reason would they have for doing that?
That's the thing. Is like I had teachers going, isn't this what we want for our
Yeah.
students? If this goes, aren't we going to want to celebrate
Yeah,
that
you should
he's
get
there?
like the school newspaper for that shit, not get expelled.
Exactly. And so they were kind of just like, but the dean was like, nope, there is an unwritten contract. And I was like, oh, it's an unwritten contract. Okay, yeah. I'm very familiar. My parents are, my mom and sister are lawyers, so I'm very familiar with unwritten contracts and how binding they are.
So they expelled you for an unwritten rule?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
That's fucked up.
And
How
all
can
I
you
had left, I didn't
legally
even
do
have any
that?
theater classes left to take, except it was like history of theater classes, not even acting classes. It was literally just written classes. I had 2 of them left to finish my degree. And so I basically just took the gen eds I needed for the next year, finished all those, and tried to get in more movies and stuff like that. And it was
Should have taken a
great.
law class and
Yeah, right.
took it straight back to the dean.
But I mean, all of those kind of decisions led me to where I was. And I mean, LA as a whole really just changed who I was as a person. Like finding this very loving group of people that like let me really start like experimenting with like, who I want to be, and really kind of coming into my own of realizing the person I do want to be. The great thing about LA is like everyone goes there motivated to do something that they couldn't do wherever they were. And when you find these groups of people that are inspired and creative and you all get together, then all of a sudden these amazing ideas happen, and that you can actually finish things, because like at this point, no matter what I need a person for, like film like a Pug Yoga calendar. It's like, okay, I need a photographer, I need a designer, I need a printer. I'm like, oh, I know people for that. I know this guy, this person, So you meet so many people that you just it just becomes this just creative gene pool where everything can kind of come together at once and you see these amazing things happen. And now I have friends, so many friends that like have their own TV shows. Two of my friends that I used to do open mics with, like their new Comedy Central show, Corporate, debuted last night. And I mean, it's just so crazy to watch.
That show looks good.
It's really good.
It looks good.
Watch episode 3 specifically.
You can actually kind of see.
Whose show is that?
Comedy Central, but their names are Jake Weissman, Matt Ingebretson, and Pat Bishop. It's the three of them. But literally, I mean, 6 years ago, we were all doing open mics together, and now I'm just looking at them on billboards for their own fucking show.
You
It's
can kind of
amazing.
see like the transformative process in like even your act just from like the stuff that I caught on YouTube. I ran across this video. You know, I was watching mostly stuff from like I saw one from 2014, one from like 2015. I think there was one this year as well. But I caught one that was like from like 09. I think.
Oh, no.
But like it wasn't bad. It was good. But it was like
I don't believe you. That was like, I started in March of 09, so I don't believe you that it wasn't good.
Yeah, you hadn't heard electronic music.
Nope.
That's not the,
That
like,
was
your-
not me.
Your energy
crazy.
was like you could see how like now when you perform you have like this kind of like dynamic energy that you like maintain throughout the set.
Yeah.
But there it was like very evident that you hadn't found your voice. But like you had this one joke, something about you were playing Battleship and you found out you had cancer, but luckily it was B9.
Yep. That's the first set I ever did. And I don't know how to contact that guy to take that off the internet. And the only reason I'm okay with it being there is because like they like say, like, this is his first time, everybody. Like most people, and I was so arrogant at the time, like, yeah, put that online. I did stand up. I'm a comic now. You know, like if I had known later, I'd been like, anything from your first 5 years, don't post anything. Like just don't do it. Just get better and then show people what you can do. Yes. But yeah, no, that is a great joke, and I forget all the time that I say it and then I wrote it. And you know, I worked really hard on that first set. I had 2 weeks to prepare. My friend booked me on a show. He gave me 2 weeks to write 6 minutes. 6 minutes, and I was like, all right, let me see what I can do in 6 minutes. And then
So that was legitimately your first set?
That was the very first one.
That was not bad. Like, you passed as someone who could have been a comedian.
Yeah, I think because I'd been performing for so long, I had never done stand up, but I knew how to perform, and I had written scripts before, so I was a decent writer. I just didn't know exactly how to write comedy yet or be a comedian. But it's, as far as a first time goes, it shows promise. Like you can watch that set and go like, oh, that guy might be able to do something with this, you know?
So you say it took you about 5 years to really fall into your own?
I started doing a lot of shows my first couple years. In my third year, that was the first time I ever did the Meltdown show, which, you know, used to be a TV show on Comedy Central. And then that was the best show in LA that you could do, essentially. And I started getting to do that show. And that was when I was like, oh, okay, maybe I really can do this. Like if I'm on these shows with these incredible people, like people that are so far above me, then maybe I can make this work as a career. And that started giving me a lot of positive influence, and I was just like, I think I can do this. And then, you know, you start to get these little opportunities. You get a little TV thing here and there, or you get to like, you know, open for somebody, and then it just kind of starts to work because everyone told you, they're like, it's gonna take 10 years, and when you're like 3 years in, you're like, I think I could do it in 5, and then but for
5 years in,
for
you're like,
99% of the
funny.
yeah, you
Put that on YouTube.
you usually can't. So it's just, you know, it's a grind, but it's so fucking fun. I love it so much. Like I perform almost every night if I can.
Wow.
And the people I've met from it are incredible. And then you get to, you know, sometimes you're sitting in an open mic for 3 hours in the back of a coffee shop and you're pondering whether or not to kill yourself. And other times you're on TV flashing around in a tail and Sarah Silverman tells you you look sexy. And then you're like, you know, I'm going to take those. I'll remember those moments when I'm on my deathbed, not the moment I was sitting in the back of the coffee shop. So, you know, when it all starts to work, it's pretty exciting.
Do you have like an hour thing coming out anytime soon? Do you have a special?
Yeah,
recorded?
my first album. It's audio album. I didn't do a special. I did audio album. It drops March 2nd through a Special Thing Records, and it's called Hugs, Drugs, Pugs. You'll be able to listen to it on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Sirius. A physical copy is available too, but I'm very excited about that. We recorded it at the Meltdown. back in September. It sounds great. I'm very proud of it. It's just an amalgamation of my first like 8 years, but really the last 3 years essentially, because most of the things from the first 5 years didn't make the cut.
No Battleship?
That didn't make the cut.
Damn, dude, that's a quality
Although
one.
I really might, you say that it's a pretty good joke. So I might have to bring
I've
that one
heard
back.
it.
Punch that in there somewhere in the audio recording.
Yeah, right. So yeah, March 2nd that will drop. So however you want to listen to it, mark it in your calendar because I'm really excited for people to
Is
hear
it on
that.
like iTunes and is it on Spotify?
It will be, yeah.
I didn't realize you could put comedy things on Spotify, but also that shouldn't be surprising because I'm the only one in
worth
this
it.
room who doesn't have Spotify.
Yeah, totally. And that's one of the good things is like I recorded it through a label and they specialized in doing a lot of comedians like first albums. Like they did Kyle Kinane's first album. They do a lot of re-release. They just re-released Patton Oswalt album on vinyl and stuff like that. And these guys, they're used to doing all this, so luckily I don't have to do any of the like, how do I get this on internet, please? Like, please put it online. Because I'm so inept at doing anything like that, and I was terrified to have to learn it. So luckily, you give away some of your profits, obviously, but it also felt really good to be picked up by a label that is legitimate and was excited to have me on there.
What was the label called?
Called A Special Thing, AST Records.
That's isn't that like Jonah Ray's company?
No, Jonah Ray, I believe, released like Jonah Ray did. He had Literally Figurative, which I was supposed to do we recorded like a 7-inch. He had this whole idea that we were going to do 7 inches with a band that we were connected to. So I was with this band called Fart Barf, who is this amazing like analog grunge synthesizer electronic band in LA. They wear these crazy Neanderthal suits and like monkey masks while they play. And they're just super fun music, but just really weird guys. And we were going to do something together, but something happened along the way and it just never really came together. So it was just going to be like, it was me doing like 8 minutes of comedy and them doing like 3 songs on the other side. But that didn't come out. But Jonah is a great friend. He's always been so cool to me. I love that guy to death. And now he's taking over the world. Like, MST3K and there's just so many good things happening. It's really cool because I've been doing comedy now it'll be 9 years in March. And like, I get to see all these people I started with or all these people that were just ahead of me getting everything that kind of everyone always knew they would get. But it's always, nothing's a guarantee, So you just like, yeah, you're really great. Things are going to happen for you. But sometimes every once in a while, people just quit or things don't happen. So to watch all of my friends get these opportunities of like, that was like one of Jonah's favorite shows growing up was Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah.
And now you get to be the host. Like,
Holy
shit,
are you
man.
kidding? Like, that's insane. And I know like Baron Vaughn and Hampton Yount are the other guys on there, like Crow and Servo. And like, it's crazy. Like that they get to do that. It's just, it's awesome.
So are you timing up your album release with your comedy anniversary, or is that just coincidence?
No, that just kind of happened.
Okay.
It was supposed to be released in February, and then it just kind of just came out that way. I wasn't really thinking about it.
You can use it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd run with it.
A week before, but once I get that out, I'm really just excited because then people will really be able to find me. Like before, it's always been like, oh yeah, I got clips online, or you can come to a show. But now it's like,
got a
listen to my
special.
album. Hey, here's an hour of
Spotify.
me doing stand up, and like it's as good as it's gonna be. So
Do you do the University of Maryland University College joke in that one?
No.
Dude, you gotta
Oh my
punch these
God.
in, dude. You gotta punch these in.
You're reminding me of my own joke. I forget the University of Maryland University
stuck with me
College.
because
Me
you
too,
did.
baby.
You started out with this joke about UTI Technical Institute.
Yeah.
But I feel like the clip that I watch on YouTube, I feel like it wasn't in Maryland that you did that joke.
No.
Because it didn't quite resonate with him. But like, I would always think that when I would watch TV, I was like, why did they call this school this name? It's such a ridiculous name.
Yeah, University again, just in case you forgot. Well, what is a university? It's a college. Let's just throw it all together. It's the worst sounding name. No, that's what's funny. Is like so many jokes. Like I've performed hours upon hours of jokes over the years, and so many of them you'll tell for like a month or two, and then you just kind of throw it away because you get bored of it or it falls by the wayside and you don't really know what to do with it. That one though, like now you're reminding me of the ones that's like that one could still work, and I could sometimes though I write these jokes early on in my like before when I'm like 2 or 3 years in and I don't really know what to do with it yet, and then you remind me of it. I could probably write 5 to 10 minutes on that.
Yes,
at this
dude.
point,
Yeah.
like so,
Hilarious.
I just need to bring like. I'm so glad that you reminded me of it because now I can actually go. You know what? I'm gonna try to do something with that again. University of Maryland University College.
God, it's perfect.
Yeah. The UTI one was kind of like that one was fun for a while. But like then I saw somebody else like kind of do that joke too, and I was like, yeah, that's not the most original premise.
It's a good setup for the University of Maryland joke.
Yeah, because
But,
like saying like that's not the worst college name, the
Yeah.
worst name.
exactly. Because like UTI, it's kind of like, are they really called UTI? Is that
Yeah,
what they're
Universal
legitimate?
Technical Institute.
Yikes.
Where is that?
It's all over. It's like an online school, I think.
God, why
yeah.
would you name it that? That's like ridiculous to me.
Arrogance, you know.
That one's like too easy. That one's
Scam
it's like,
people.
yeah, exactly.
I assume that's what UMUC is. They're like, yeah, it sounds official. It sounds like, is that University of Maryland?
Yeah. Some sort of
like a
University
branch
of
of that?
Maryland.
I don't know anybody that goes there. I really don't. I don't even know. I wasn't actually sure if it was a real school because I don't even know where it is. I thought it was like a medical school maybe.
I think that one's online too. There's all these weird online universities. You know, like I see commercials all the time in LA for Southern New Hampshire University.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, what is
Well,
that?
first of all, why do you have to put a location on it if it's online? And
Makes
second
it
of all,
sound real.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it's I went to Southern New Hampshire. New Hampshire is like this big anyway, so it's whether you're in Southern or Northern doesn't really probably matter. You're just on the other side of the sidewalk if you're on Southern New Hampshire. But yeah, I'm glad you watched a bunch of sets though, and then they prepped for it.
no, dude, I actually enjoyed it. I was like, I probably watched like 2 hours worth of just random clips
Wow.
last night. I was just like, it wasn't like work. It was enjoyable. I was like, I like this guy. My girlfriend was in the back. We were listening to it.
Sometimes every once in a while, like I'll put on an old set just to be like, what was I talking about 4 years ago? And I'll go like, oh yeah, that joke. I forgot about that one. And a lot of them just as you grow, you just throw them away. That's why one of the main reasons I was so happy to record an album is because there were jokes that I wasn't doing anymore that I still really loved. And I was like, I'm gonna lose this if I don't do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized I did have a really solid hour of stuff that I was like, I'm proud of this hour. There's nothing in here that I'm like, yeah, like I love all this material. So let me just do it, get it on recording, and just start moving on. And I think 8 years, between 8 and 9 is a really good time to do a first album. Like I know people that do it at like 5. I wanted to do it at 5, and I'm glad people talked me out of it. I was like, I got this, But like until you really start touring and headlining and doing an hour as a whole standalone thing, you probably shouldn't record an album of you doing an hour. Like I know people who like the first time they've done an hour was for an album recording, and it's like that's that's not the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Like I understand why you want to, but for me I was like, let me have an hour and tour it, and then I'll feel good about putting it down.
So you, at this point, is it kind of like a process of like, so you've pretty much unloaded all that material, or at least for the most part, and now are you in a process of like starting to write completely new shit?
Yeah, I have since so I recorded that in September, and since then I've written about at least 20 minutes that I really like. I've written more than that, but 20 minutes is where I'm at, that I really like right now. But I'm pretty much only doing that material that's on my album if I'm doing a headlining set, because I don't have a new hour, obviously, in 4 months, But I will still bring that. Like last night I did an hour at the Auto Bar, and I did about like my 20 minutes of new stuff that I really like. And then I did 40 minutes of stuff off that album, just tied it all, found a way to tie it all together. Cause I'm not like, throw it away, I don't need it anymore. I do need it sometimes.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a headlining set, I need those jokes.
Do you like actually have to regiment yourself? Like, okay, I'm going to sit down and write some jokes, or does it just come to you?
Ideas have to come to me, and then I start writing. I will sit down and actually write like long form as if I was on stage talking. And then so other times, if I don't have an idea, I do just force myself to sit down and go, well, think about stuff. Like, let's go from a certain point. Okay. Open the news. What do you see? What can inspire you? Like, I don't actually do topical or news related stuff, but like, oh, there was a building fire. Oh, well, fire. I've dealt with fire in my life. How can I,
That's
something
the
like
true
that.
exercise, like to sit down. And I bet you were saying earlier about like having to prepare for roast battle, and like the exercise, preparing jokes. Like
Yeah.
that's the hard part. Like when you come across something funny, it's much easier to like motivate yourself because it's not even motivation at that point to like develop on that
Yeah,
idea.
you're already inspired. Like there are times when like something happens and I go, whoa, and I'm like, okay, and I go to my computer right
Yeah.
then. I'm like, go, 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 go. You know,
just
and then,
flows through you, but
yeah.
like to actually sit down and train it's just like
That
Jesus,
yeah, the
you'll drive yourself
roast
crazy.
jokes, you literally have to sit down looking at a pile of information and go, okay, so this person is bulimic and has an iron deficiency and grew up in Maryland. How can I tie those three things together, you know? And suddenly it's, you know, that's part of the fun is just like staring at it.
How often do you like come back to Maryland?
I was back here in June, but only for one night. I performed at Soundstage, open for my friend Craig Gass. But before that, it had been like 2 years, like since I'd been back. I try to be back more, but like I try to get my family to like. I'm like, why don't you just come to California? There's more stuff to do.
Yeah.
because
Warmer.
it's warmer and we can actually like do fun things. Because like here, like there are things to do, but it's a lot. Like I mostly just end up sitting around my parents' house, just like watching TV and stuff like that. Which it's fine. I'm glad I get to spend time with them. But that's why I have to like. I'm like, I always want to do shows each night because I'm like, I need somewhere to go so I can, first of all, make this trip worthwhile so I don't lose money. But second of all, just so I don't go crazy just sitting in a house for like 5 days.
Yeah.
I mean, do you still like? Because I noticed like you were on Mike Moran and with Mickey Coachella yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Do you like know these guys, or do they just know you're from Baltimore and hit you up?
Mike was on the Soundstage show that I did because Craig Gass was doing promo on Mickey's radio show, met Mike, invited Mike to come do a guest spot on the show. So then when I hit him up when I knew I was going to come back here around this time, because my brother came in to town as well. My sister lives in Virginia, so we're all kind of just doing like a family thing this week instead of Christmas. We didn't do Christmas because I was away for Thanksgiving and I had to stay home during Christmas to watch my dogs while my girlfriend went away. So this was the better time to do it. And then so I met those guys, and then Mike invited me to set up the Autobar show, invited me onto him and Mickey's show yesterday. I'd never met Mickey before. I mean, I know he's like a local legend around here, and that was really it was great, getting to meet and hang out with those guys.
Because there was another thing you were talking about, names of like. You said there was a black girl you knew named Unique.
Unique, yes.
Unique. And I was wondering, I wonder if he's talking about, because there's a guy around here, Ivan, whose girlfriend is named that too.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
No,
I
that's
was like,
not where that came from. That
like,
literally came
maybe-
from after a show of meeting a girl named Unique, the Youneek. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's my joke about is the spelling of her name is the exact definition of her name.
What's the thing in so you came here to Baltimore and you did what, 2 shows?
Yeah, well, just Autobar last night, and then I'm doing DC tonight. I'm headlining the Beer Baron in there, and that'll be John Yeager is the guy who produced that show, and then so I've never actually met John Yeager. We've talked on the phone before when we were trying to set up this gig, and so he got me this one, and yeah, I've actually never done a show in DC proper since I've been a comedian. So I've done like Frederick and I've done Maryland, but I've never actually done DC. So
And which venue is this
the
called?
Beer Baron.
The Beer Baron.
Yep,
And
I
then
don't know
you're going
anything
up
about
to New York after that, right?
Yeah, and then I'll be in New York from Sunday to just I leave Wednesday morning. I just want to, while I'm already here, it's really easy for me to go to New York and just do a bunch of spots. Like the first night I'm there, I'm doing like 4 shows, and then and I'm also doing a couple podcast things, a couple of things where I'm like filming some stand up for like a magazine. So it kind of just worked out that I can do all these other spots while I'm there. And I mean, I love New York for 5 days at a time. So 3 days is a really good amount for me to be there to be like, oh, this is great. I'm having so much fun. I'm eating all this pizza. Get me the fuck out of here. So it's just enough time. And I have a lot of friends in New York. I know a ton of comics there. The shows are great. So it's really nice to be able to just go there and bang out like 10 spots in 3 days and then just go back and just feel like you really just did it.
Yeah, it's easier to get to New York from here than it is from LA.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, dude, I'm so
Might as
close.
well,
Like, I mean,
yeah.
the mega bus, like $25, and you know, you're
bad.
there. You're there. Like, it's so cheap and so easy, and it just seemed crazy if I didn't go. Like, I was last there in March, and I always have such a good time there that I love just walking around that city.
And are you headlining these rooms?
In New York, no. New
I was about
York.
to say, I was like, what kind of following do you have when you come to any
No,
given city?
New York is all like showcase shows. Like, so it's all just like there's like anywhere from 4 to 7 comics on the show, and we're all just doing like 8 to 12 minutes, like just bam, 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 bam. Like these shows in here, I get to headline. Like last night I did an hour. Tonight I think I'm doing like 30 to 40, I think. So
And who was the primary audience of the people like let's say the Auto Bar show that you
a
headlined?
lot of people like to just go to the comedy show anyway for like that know the show because they've been doing it for like 16 or 18 months. They've kind of got a reputation of like throwing good shows there. A lot of my family and their friends were there last night. A bunch of friends that I grew up with that I just don't ever get to see. And so if I come back home, they're always excited to see me come back and do this. So just a mix of, people from my world and then just Baltimore comedy fans. But it works out really well. I mean, I grew up going to the Auto Bar. Like, I've seen At the Drive-In there and Ted Leo and the Pharmacist and Atmosphere and Sage Francis. And I was like, now me. This is rad. It's when you grow up going to a venue and all of a sudden your name's on it. When I was peeing in the urinal and my face was above the urinal. Like, it's one of those feelings of like, this feels right. This is good.
Well, so do you know the next time you're coming back to Baltimore?
No, I'm trying. Sometime in the next year, I think I'll probably come back and like feature a weekend at one of the clubs or something like that. But just to like be here for like 2 or 3 days. But other than that, I don't really know. The weird thing about like where I am in stand up, like a lot of comedians, when you're like further along than I am, they know their next 6 months where they're going to be every single weekend and it's all planned out. And I'm not quite far enough along for it to be like that. So for me, it's more so just like I'll plan a tour like 3 or 4 months in advance and just be like, all right, here's where I'm going to go for a week. Because I don't do a ton of like weekends at clubs. Like I do them in like San Diego and Arizona and things like that. But I'm not like, I don't have the pull, the draw to be able to just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go to Detroit, do a weekend, sell out all 5 shows, then I'll just jet back. Like I don't have that pull yet. So hopefully in a few years I will. But where I feel like I'm in a very good place for where I am now. I'm in a very happy place, which I think is the most important thing. Because I spend a lot of time going like, why don't I have this? Why aren't I further? And that just doesn't do anything for anybody. And I just need to keep making cool things and writing good jokes and performing as much as I can and gaining a following until I have enough people and notoriety where I can do that stuff.
But comedy is your full-time income at this point?
No, I could live off of it, but I work a day job, so I don't have to live off of it.
Where do you work?
I work at Universal Studios. I've longer than I've been doing comedy now. So I've worked there 9 years.
What do you do?
I sell tickets into the park.
Nice.
Yep.
Easy enough, dude.
I never work past 4. I have health insurance. They let me travel whenever I need to because my managers respect what I do. They didn't used to understand it, and then one day they saw me on TV and were like, "Oh, this is like real, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell you." And they're like, "Is there anything we can do?" I was like, "Yeah. When I tell you I can't be here, I can't be here. I'm not just fucking around. Like I'm doing stuff." And they were kind of like, "Okay, cool. We'll start working with you as much as we can," which was great for them. They didn't have to do that. They don't do that for everybody, but I'm very good at my job. Like, we have to like upsell and stuff like that. And like, I'm very good at it because I'm good at talking to people. And so because of that, like I could survive off of comedy, but I would literally be surviving. I would have no money. And as we've talked about, I like doing things. I like going to festivals. I like traveling. I need to have money so I'm not scared all the time. Yeah. So like if my car breaks down, I don't go like, what do I do? If my car breaks down, I have the money to get it fixed. And because of that, all the money I make from comedy for the most part goes into a savings account that I don't really touch so that the day when I do have to quit Universal because I'm too busy but not making a lot of money yet, all that money is there as a safety net. So like I'm doing it the smart way, the safe way. I'm still jealous of my friends that don't work regular jobs, but a lot of them are very scared all the time because they have so little money, like
or no insurance or like
exactly. And I have all of those things, and I don't mind going to my job. I wish I didn't have to most of the time.
I can't imagine it being a very stressful job.
It's not stressful at all.
Like you just
no. I make
Give
it
people
fun.
tickets.
It's like a game, and I entertain.
People are going there to be excited and have fun.
For sure.
So they're always going to be in a good mood.
And I entertain all my coworkers, like I'm I think I'd be super annoying to work with. Apparently I'm fun. I think I'd be very annoying. I always tell them, I was like, I would hate to work with me. And they're like, no, it's so fun. Because I like sing songs all day and I'm just like a goofball. Like I literally have free range to do whatever the fuck I want there, as long as I'm not, mean to customers or cursing or anything like that. So I have fun. And then when I get out of there, I'm super motivated to go do comedy because I'm like, I gotta get out of here. Yeah. But health insurance is pretty good. I didn't have that for a long time. And it's very nice to be able to be like, oh yeah, whatever happens, I'll be okay.
I got this crick in my neck. I should go check that out.
Yeah, seriously.
$15? Cool.
It's nice, and I really like. I mean, they've been really good to me. I have nothing but good things to say about Universal Studios for the most part. We've had our differences in the past, but at this point, my department at least works with me very well. To they think it's super cool what I do, and they like that I'm there, and I'll be there as long as I have to be. But God, the day I quit is going to be the greatest day of my entire. I'm going to burn that motherfucking place to the ground. You heard it right here. I am going to burn Universal. No, they've been. I'm not going to do the fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out.
Dude, we liked you. What's wrong?
We were nice to you.
You're so nice to the kids.
They treat me pretty well. So I
What's
can't.
what's coming up on the acting horizon? You got anything?
That stuff I never know because that stuff comes out of nowhere.
You don't pursue it though. You're not like.
I mean,
give me
I
an
pursue
acting
it as
job.
much as I don't pursue it much because I don't actually have a manager or an agent. I have a commercial agent, so I do commercial auditions, but I don't have a theatrical agent to get me the TV stuff. And when you're already in the Screen Actors Guild, you can't get the really good jobs. Like I could go online and submit myself for like, really small things, like shitty things here and there, but I can't get the really good stuff. So I'm just hitting stand-up as hard as I can, knowing that the acting stuff will come back like when it does. Like it's always been the kind of thing where I've just been myself and worked as hard as I could, and people notice me, and then they're like, oh yeah, you should go out for this. I got something for you, and then all of a sudden I'm on a Nickelodeon show playing a karate instructor. Like you just
Really? What show?
100 Things to Do Before High School. If you know what that is, I'm going to be very concerned, Jimmy. And just why are you watching this? But so that stuff you really never know. Like I could go back next week and all of a sudden just be on a TV show that I didn't even know was a possibility. It comes so fast. It's never like, hey, in 6 months we're going to be doing this thing. I think you're going to be right for it. So
Are you a recurring character on that show?
No, I just did a
man.
one-off. But
So I only had to watch one episode.
I look pretty good in a gi. I'll tell you that much. Looked real good in a gi.
Well, you got your album coming out March 5th or 2nd?
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
No,
anniversary.
I've really learned how to just like have fun with all of this and enjoy the ride and just be patient. So much of that is just like you want all these things, but they're not going to come when you think they come. Like Mike Birbiglia has this quote where he said, "You'll get everything you want 7 years after you want it." So I'm
7 years. That's what I remember my friend Chuck Beckman told me. He was like, if you're going to pursue a music career, you got to give it 7 years. They say once you've gone 7 years and you haven't achieved something, then you got to give up. And I was like, all right, I don't agree with the last part of that.
No, I don't. Everyone will tell you in LA, like acting, comedy, whatever, 10 years. And what I didn't used to understand that. I used to think it was like, oh, you just have to work for 10 years till you're good enough. And part of it is that you are good enough at that point to make these career things happen for you. But the bigger part of it is that you'll have this network of people that you've met over the years that all start having their own stuff.
Yeah.
That all start like everyone just starts using each other. Like there's no, these comics that have been in things that have been around for 20 years. There's a reason why they pop up on little guest stars on all these TV shows and why they tour and all that, because they all know each other. And that's the thing is at this point I know like pretty much every comic in LA and they know me. And so if something is right for me and they have a show where they're like, oh, like, the Comedy Central show Corporate, they were like, hey, we got this guy. He's addicted to drugs. He's going to hit somebody with their car. Alex, we got it. Like, you're the guy. They told me, they're like, we wrote this and we looked at each other. We were like, Alex Hooper, right? And so those kind of things happen where you just have this network of people behind you that like what you do and support you. And then things work out. And it's the same way the Pug Yoga calendar got to Ellen. It's because I worked hard and I finished something, but it's because people like me as a person and want me to succeed, which is a really, really good feeling. If people want you to succeed, you're going to succeed as long as you don't sabotage
pugs.
yourself.
Yeah, and you know you're doing something right at least.
That's right. I say it's me. It's the pugs. It's my beautiful adopted Korean pug that really steals the show.
Would they buy that calendar if there was not a pug posing with you yoga style?
Oof. Probably not. 'Cause otherwise, it's just me shirtless in leggings all over LA, and that's gross. The pug really
That would not
makes
have made it on Ellen. I'll give you that. People might have
No.
bought it though.
Yeah, man, like 6 people.
6 people.
There's
And
like
I wouldn't
6
want to meet those
there's-
people.
Yeah, there's like 6 of my fans that are like, like I would do that. I had a fan the other day reach out and say like I would love to send you a pair of leggings. Like I found this pair of leggings that they look they look like they're just naked hairy legs, and I was like, yes please. If you're serious, here's my address. I will totally take those because that is hilarious. Because I slackline a lot. It's like tightrope walking, and I do it in the park, and I'm always wearing leggings. So if I was wearing leggings that looked like I was wearing nothing and it was just hairy legs,
Do they wear leggings slacklining?
I do.
That's a very guy who
rope
attends
burn.
festivals thing to do is slackline.
That's where I picked it up. I was at a festival and I started trying it. I was like on acid and I was like, I think I could do this. I think I'd be great, and I couldn't do it at all.
Put that on YouTube.
But I got kind of obsessed with trying to do it, and now it's like one of my favorite things. I love it so much.
It's kind of like the tightrope, but I mean, I can't imagine. I don't think I'd be able to do it.
You could if you spend enough time doing it. It's just a practice thing. Nobody can do it right away, but if you practice it,
Did being on acid help, or was it a hindrance?
No, it was a hindrance. I thought it would help. I was just like, I'm in tune with my body and myself. Here we go, everybody. But I'm around thousands of people. There's music blasting. I've never done this before. It's a skill that your muscles and your brain have to kind of learn together. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
I imagine that'd be a very sobering experience to expect I'm gonna be fucking great at slackline, and then you just realize you're just fucking high.
Yeah.
I thought I was awoken spiritually, and now I'm just shit. I'm actually just
Yeah,
high.
it was a pretty bizarre experience, but it at least opened the floodgate enough for me to be like, I want to be able to do this. Like, I really want to do this.
It's fun, and it always draws a crowd, dude. I remember at Towson U, they had this area called the Beach, but it was really just like a central plot of grass in the middle of campus, and all the really annoying dudes, what I consider to be annoying.
Oh yeah, no. My brother says when he found out I was slackline, he goes, "Only the dirtiest hippies do that."
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't know.
I mean, it looked cool, but I just remember watching and being like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, we get a lot of that. We get a lot of people that are like, wow, that's amazing, and other people are just like, ugh, like.
I don't
whatever.
doubt that they got a lot of ass. I don't doubt that at all. That's probably why I was like, dude, come on, bro.
See
Yeah.
that dude fucking jumping on that rope.
It's a
dude.
mental.
You like little
It's a beautiful mental thing though, because you just kind of it's like meditation, but you're physically working your entire body. I've really come to enjoy it. Just the freedom of I'm gonna put headphones on, get on my line, and just go back and forth until I can't anymore.
Do you just have a slack line set up at your house?
I have one in my car, in the trunk
What?
of my car
Oh,
at all
okay,
times.
I thought-
Yeah, no, from the front seat to the back seat, I just tie it around the
Wow,
steering
you are
wheel.
woke.
No, I have one in my trunk, so if I'm ever when I'm on the road or when I'm I just go to a park and I just find trees that will work for it, and then just get on, and I try to do it a couple times a week. It's just that's my workout.
Cool, dude. I know you have a time constriction, so I was just gonna do you have anything you want to plug?
What time is it?
It is 2:25.
Oh yeah, we're about that time. We've plugged pretty much everything there's pugyogacalendar.com. There's my album on March 2nd, Hugs, Drugs, Pugs, available through A Special Thing Records. Cravecomedy.com. If you're in LA, our next show is February 17th at Union Nightclub. You're probably not there, but Crave is dope anyway, and God, I think that's about what I want. And watch Corporate on Comedy Central, because that's my friend's new show. It premiered last night. It's super dark and very funny and unlike anything that's on TV. So watch that. And just be a happy, pleasant person to be around. Stay rad.
Stay rad. What you got coming up, Eric?
I don't know. Just check us out on iTunes, Laughable, all that stuff. LFTS podcast across the board. At Eric Glazer across the board, if you want to find me. Other than that, nothing.
Yeah, at Jimmy Selesky with a Y for both, I guess. Never told anybody how to spell
JIMMI.
But yeah, LFTS podcast and everything. Till next week.
Peace.
Thank you,
Actually,
guys.
I meant actually till like later tonight, I guess.
Yeah, this is a double header tonight. See ya. We got another Carver graduate coming on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Do you know Drew Landry?
Drew Landry. I don't think so.
Always dancing down the street
What does he do?
blue eyes.
Oh, really?
He started really young.
Every new boy that you meet